was a big surprise to me because President Trump went on the stage before me at Bitcoin 2024. I did not know that he was going to announce his support for a Bitcoin strategic reserve in his remarks. Now, we had kicked around before his remarks that idea. He had a copy of my bill, but I didn't know if it resonated with him. I didn't know if he was thinking along the same lines. So I was so delighted. I can't even describe how pleased I was that he supported it. And he was much more supportive than I expected. He was also much more informed than I suspected. So he obviously has a background and is surrounding himself with people who have backgrounds in Bitcoin. So that was new to me, and I couldn't have been more delighted.
The idea of a U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve has gone from a policy proposal to a serious discussion at the highest levels of government. Senator Cynthia Lummis, a longtime advocate of Bitcoin on Capitol Hill, has worked tirelessly to ensure that digital assets are recognized for their potential role in financial stability. But the real turning point came when President Trump not only supported the idea, but also proposed expanding it into a sovereign wealth fund.
The president appointed a digital asset czar type position in the White House. The new Treasury Secretary is conversant in digital asset issues. And so is the vice president. So are the people that he's appointing to Treasury adjacent positions. You mentioned Howard Lutnick. Howard's fabulous. He's working with the president on the idea of a strategic reserve as well as a sovereign wealth fund. So the right people are in the right places to keep this issue front and center.
With these key appointments, Bitcoin policy is becoming more structured within the U.S. government. However, the path forward still has obstacles, particularly within Congress. Many lawmakers remain uncertain about digital assets and need further education before fully backing initiatives like the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve.
Now, here's what I understand from my colleagues in the Senate. So I'm busy communicating with you, Alan, and other people in the Bitcoin space that are really excited about a strategic Bitcoin reserve. I am also really excited about a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So it took some of my colleagues here in the Senate coming to me and saying, we still don't understand this asset. We're not ready to help you pass a strategic Bitcoin reserve. We need more education from you, meaning me. So that was a good wake-up call for me.
This realization has led to a shift in strategy. Instead of pushing directly for the Bitcoin reserve, the focus has turned to incremental policy wins, starting with stablecoin legislation, which is expected to gain bipartisan support.
It'll probably be a standalone bill. We'll try to get the 60 votes in the Senate that's necessary to bring a bill to a vote. That means it has to be bipartisan. We think we can do that. We couldn't have done that last year, but now we think we're there. So we're moving that first. We need to score a win to get some momentum in the digital asset space.
Beyond Congress, individual states are stepping forward to create their own Bitcoin reserves. This bottom-up approach could serve as a proving ground for federal adoption.
The other thing, Alan, that I would mention, and I think it's more typical of the way things are apt to happen going forward, are that the states are looking at strategic Bitcoin reserves. You've got Pennsylvania, Texas, I think Wisconsin, and other states whose legislatures are in session now, considering founding a strategic Bitcoin reserve.
As Bitcoin policy gains momentum, the long-term vision is becoming clearer. With potential state adoption and international interest, the question is not if, but when. the U.S. will move forward with its own reserve.
I want this industry in the United States. I want Bitcoin to mined in the United States. I want the U.S. to be what he called the crypto capital of the world. So we have sort of a mission that the president has laid out for all of us. And now we have to figure out how best to accomplish that mission.
This statement from President Trump at Bitcoin 2024 cemented his administration's commitment to fostering a robust digital asset economy by declaring his vision for the U.S. To lead in Bitcoin adoption and mining, he signaled a departure from previous regulatory roadblocks. Now the focus has shifted to crafting policies that align with this goal, ensuring that the industry can thrive within a structured legal framework.
I think the White House is researching that right now to try and understand the extent of their abilities to take existing government assets that are denominated in US dollars and convert them to Bitcoin. I think just intuitively that he probably has some of those powers.
As discussions advance, there is growing interest in how the federal government might begin accumulating Bitcoin directly. The idea of converting government-held assets into Bitcoin could be a game changer, providing a new mechanism for securing financial stability. While legal and logistical hurdles remain, the fact that this is being actively researched suggests that policy shifts may not be as far off as some initially thought. By the time Bitcoin 2025 arrives, we may see real-world examples of a Bitcoin reserve in action, whether at the state or international level. With increasing bipartisan interest, changing financial landscapes, and new leadership, the momentum is undeniable. But how soon can we expect significant federal movement on the Bitcoin reserve?
So I expect it to be a very positive, enthusiastic report. And we're going to start talking about what is instead of what may be. And we'll have some actual test cases that can move forward to prove that this asset is digital gold, that this brings freedom, and that it can be used to undergird the US dollar. I think a lot of people in government are threatened by the fact that this is an asset the government can't control.
With Bitcoin's role in the U.S. economy evolving rapidly, do you think a federal Bitcoin reserve is inevitable? Let us know in the comments.